Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. Special guest in studio for Wildcat Wednesday. It's Jeri Geren from the K-State Extension Office. Yeah. Jeri, I know you've been getting a whole lot of calls about a pest that's been working its way in from the south. Let's talk armadillos.
Yes.
What are people asking about?
Okay, well, this time of year, we start to get a lot of calls and questions coming into the office about armadillos because they start to, as the temperatures warm up, they start to come out and they start to feed. So what they're doing is they are digging up in people's yards and gardens and making a lot of mess.
How do I know if I have an armadillo problem as opposed to another pest that may be in the ground?
Common things that you see is when you wake up in the morning, you have all these holes in your yard. So what they are doing is they are feeding usually from twilight up until morning. So it'll be all night, and they'll be out digging for insects in your yard.
And it's not just not just communities and neighborhoods. I know big problem with farmers and crops as well.
Oh yeah, they are like you said, they've just kind of made their way up from Texas. And they've actually been in Kansas for quite a number of years, but we haven't had them a problem quite like they are now. So yeah, what we're seeing is a lot of activity, and 90% of their diet is insect matter and larvae, so that's really what they're feeding on.
I grew up around them. I'm used to them, but a lot of people are going to ask, how in the world did they end up in Kansas? I mean, what kind of started the migration? Well,
an armadillo is kind of an interesting animal. It's got a lot of scientists puzzled because they don't hibernate over the winter, so and they only eat insects mainly. So it's really a conundrum as to why their territory keeps expanding north as the insects, aren't around in the winter. But they have been found up to I-80 in Nebraska. So their range is continuing to increase north. But like I said, it's really perplexing to scientists.
All right, I'm familiar with this, but I want you to walk us through what you have right here, because this is what we would call in Texas an armadillo trap.
Yes. So this is a live game trap or box trap.
And the board, let's talk about here. I'll squat down here. The board. So what exactly are we going to do with this?
Okay. So let's talk about how to catch an armadillo.
Let's do that.
And talking about armadillos and what they are and how they act really helps you to figure out how you're going to catch one.
Okay.
So they have really poor eyesight, but their sense of smell is great. So when you're setting a trap, using visual baits really aren't going to be effective. So that's something to take into consideration when you're doing this. So because they have such poor eyesight, if you can find where they are entering into your yard or area, or where they travel, a lot of times it's along buildings or the foundation of your house, what you'll want to do is create kind of a funnel system to head into this trap.
What's the humane way? What do we do then?
You'll want to contact your local pest removal, or you can relocate them to another location. But if they are a nuisance in your yard, you can use this trap. And some people may opt to use a pest control. So
awesome. Jeri Geren, thank you so much for joining us. Great information. We got to have you back on. Is that okay?
Yes, that sounds good.
Thank you so much. We'll come back and do more KOAM Morning News right after this.